Okay, who's next? I'm not sure who's been on the longest. Oh, looks like... All right. Joel in Alabama, how are you?
Hello. I would like to give an argument for reincarnation.
Okay.
And it doesn't involve anything supernatural.
That's interesting.
Let me
wait. I think I know where you're going to go.
Okay, let me
Go
just
ahead.
read three short paragraphs, then we can talk about it. Patterns recur in nature. Awareness occurs in patterns, therefore awareness recurs in nature.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack already.
Yeah.
I know. A baby's awareness could develop in utero in such a way that it had the same awareness as a baby from 1,000 years ago. Thus, it would be the same baby since awareness is identity. Awareness is identity because awareness is the way a person processes pleasure and pain. Okay, and then the baby processes information and stimuli in predictable ways in patterns. The awareness of sadness is the same for me as it is for you. Otherwise, empathy would not be possible. The same parts of the brain are responsible for self-awareness in every person, so that self-awareness is one thing, one pattern of activity. But more importantly, it's the same feeling for everyone.
I would say similar. I wouldn't say the same.
Well, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Do you think that a one-day-old baby, its awareness, do you think there's any precedent for that awareness anywhere in history?
What do you mean by that?
There have been billions of babies. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Okay. So if there's a precedent for it, why can't we say that it has the same awareness as a one-day-old baby that was born prior, maybe 1,000 years ago?
Because it's like saying that these two snowflakes are both snowflakes, so they're the same snowflakes. No. I mean, I know that's a bit of a cliche, but
no. It's not the same as saying two physical things are the same. Because I'm not suggesting that a physical object can cease to exist and exist again, but the same thought can be thought more than once by numerous people.
Again, I would say similar thoughts can be thought by more than one people.
Well,
I mean, forgive me, I'm a computer programmer, so I'm really, really precise. They're not pointers to the same object. They're copies of it.
Yeah.
Well, if I said that's the pot calling the kettle black,
what?
That's the same phrase that's been used.
Yeah.
No. I'm saying if I say that,
okay.
If I say that's the pot calling the kettle black, that phrase has been used millions of times, and it's the same phrase.
Sure.
So there's a differentiation between saying awareness recurs in patterns and saying that a physical object can recur. I don't think a physical object can recur. I think the patterns of awareness can recur. And so, it is, I can have the same emotion as someone else because it's the same patternation in the brain.
Yeah, but okay, let's run with your example. If you say the pot calling the kettle black, you and I have different experiences and backgrounds, and so it might trigger different kinds of specific thoughts when you say the pot calling the kettle black. I mean, somebody who lived in 19th century England, where I'm going to assume that they said that all the time, as opposed to now, like the first time you hear that phrase, if you're maybe a teenager or something, you're like, what are they even talking about? What do pots and kettles have to do with this? And maybe you come from an environment where it's a point of pride to be criticized in a particular way because, you're contrarian. And so the feelings or thoughts that it triggers when you hear the same cliche are similar to each other, assuming you have a shared context, but they're not the exact same feelings in your brain, or at least there's no way to know.
But they could be.
I mean, two snowflakes could be identical, but they're generally not. But it's really unlikely.
It's not the same because I mean, to say, like, for instance, I have a heater in front of me. If I throw the heater into, a volcano and it vanishes, I'm not going to produce the same heater later on. But the way in which, but I can say that I dance the same dance more than once, or I think the same thought more than once. It's possible to think the same thought more than once.
They're similar. They fall into the same category. That doesn't mean they're identical.
But would you admit that it's possible for it to think the same thought more than once?
In the same way that it's possible for two snowflakes to be exactly the same, technically, yeah. But is it likely?
But I mean, this is, well, is it likely? Yes, I think it is because here's in the basic argument. The basic argument is sound if you consider that awareness is a pattern that recurs in nature. Patterns recur in nature. Awareness occurs in patterns. Therefore, awareness recurs in nature. Well, I do think that like when you talk about sadness, it's a certain patternation in the brain, and the sadness I experience, it's definitely possible that it's the same thing you experience. It's not possible. You see what I'm saying?
No, well, I mean, I see what you think you're saying, but I think it's way too vague to nail down an exact, a real answer. I mean, at this point, it just seems like we're arguing over what kind of words to use, and you seem very keen on convincing me that they're identical, and I'm not convinced. I don't know how much farther this conversation can go since we're kind of talking past each other.
Well, I definitely believe that the argument is sound, though.
Okay, I don't.
I'm unconvinced of that.
You don't? Why not?
Yeah.
Because you believe it's not. Because you can't. Well, if you say that, I mean, here. What about? Okay, this is like the fine-tuning argument. How likely is it that we would be here today, given all the conditions and causes that had to come about exactly right, and yet we're here? And so, and if there's a multiverse, it may be possible that there are like parallel universes in which there are humans. I could end up there. I could end up.
I'm not sure this is helping your argument.
Yeah.
Well, but it is because I'm opening up more possibilities. I'm saying there are more possibilities.
No, trust me, it's not helping your argument.
Well, if you believe there's an infinite multiverse, there would have to be.
But we don't. I mean, or we don't assume that there's an infinite multiverse.
But let me get back to the original argument.
Okay.
There doesn't have to be even another world because, like I say, these patterns of awareness are definitely repeat. I mean, they repeat within our own lifetime.
You keep saying that, but you've not demonstrated.
I'm dropping him. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Asserting the same thing over and over again doesn't actually establish that your argument is sound.
Right.